Hi, this is week 2 for June's lesson, and this lesson is on a really fun topic, pet peeves. If you look up the definition for pet peeves, and I hope that you're following along with me on your Google Drive, a pet peeve is defined as, let me share the screen with you so we can kind of do that together. Hello. I'm going to share something else with you. Sorry. Where's my document? There it is. Okay. So a pet peeve, official definition, something that a particular person finds especially annoying. So I'm going to start with a video. A lot of us are traveling this summer. Imagine you're on an 8-hour flight and you're sitting next to this person.
You'll get them, really. On an 8-hour flight from Germany to New Jersey, passengers endure a 3-year-old child expressing his dislike for, well, everything. His mom can be heard trying to quiet things down by asking for Wi-Fi access even before takeoff. All around them, the plane full of unsettled passengers.
Hour 1. Okay, I think you get the message, everybody. Interesting. That's tough. I think we can all agree that's pretty tough. Okay, I'm going to go back to my share screen. And I'm going to go back to my document here. I meant to do that, not. Okay, so I'm going to be little on a screen. And I apologize, I'm at home recording this. My husband is out of town. So if my dogs bark, my apologies. So I found this incredible article from Psychology Today. Makes sense, a psychological reason. And they kind of talked about the top 3 pet peeves for American employees. And what I thought was really interesting was, I think these are the top pet peeves for kids in school today. Number 1, malfunctioning slow computers and software. I mean, students, teachers can't do anything. Everything is halted when that happens at school. So I think that would be a pet peeve. Number 2, when coworkers don't wash their hands after using the restroom. Especially, we just went through COVID. Not okay, right? And I think, unfortunately, boys are a little bit more guilty of this than girls. And then finally, when coworkers come into sick, respectively. Again, post-COVID, shouldn't happen in the first place. I know it does. Moms are busy. Moms and dads have to work. They send sick kids to school. Don't care. Let me give you a perfect example. My sister-in-law is a doctor, medical doctor, and knew her kids had fever, gave them ibuprofen and sent them to school. And then when the nurse calls, your kids have fever. Oh, really? Oh, no, let me come get them. But by that time, she could see patients all morning. And this is a doctor who knew better. And that's the reality today. Imagine someone sitting next to you, coughing and sneezing, dripping, clearly visibly ill, or God forbid, I remember in 4th grade, someone throwing up on me. Yeah. Oh, when it happens to you, it's annoying. Okay. So I'm going to scroll down because that word annoying is a good word. And one of the number 1 mistakes kids make is they repeat the same words over and over again in their essays. That get word, which is my personal pet peeve, using get or very. Those are dead words. That means they're overused and they're not effective words. So irritating, exasperating, maddening, troublesome, bothersome, irksome, vexing. These are fabulous words that we're going to replace with annoying. And all I did it took me 10 seconds to look up synonyms. So I'm going to go through a list of pet peeves, and you could probably agree with me. Maybe some or all of these will trigger you as well. I'm not going to go through all 70. I'm just going to kind of highlight chewing sounds and noises. Repetitive tapping. I do this with my fingernails. Let me show you on my phone. I have wonderful fake nails, and it's a nervous habit. Interrupting during conversation. Kids do this with their parents a lot. We could do a whole thing on cell phone, pet peeves. I'm going to go to the second page, throat clearing, cough noises, leaving drawers and cabinets open. Not screwing the lids onto bottles and containers all the way. Scraping silverware, cutting in line. I think we can all agree with that one. Standing up at the exact moment the plane gets to the gate. Just want to get off that plane, don't we? I'm not going to really focus on driving too slow, driving too fast. That doesn't really apply to you, unless I guess you're in the car with mom and dad. People who talk during the movies, I think that applies to you. Unsolicited advice and recommendations. Interesting. I'm looking for, I thought I going to have to do it from memory. I thought I took a picture of it in my classroom, but maybe I didn't. Being late. Yeah. Know-it-alls. Someone who thinks they know all the answers. One-uppers. You have a wonderful story and somebody tries to one-up your story. Gum cracking, snapping, chewing. Oh, this is me. I really like to chew gum and blow big bubbles. Cracking knuckles. The feeling of chalk and cotton balls. I've never heard that one. I've heard nails on a chalkboard. Haven't heard that one. Clipping nails in public. Ew, just don't. Being rude to customer service representatives. Holding up a line. Think about the airport, security line or lunch line at school. Talking over people. You raise your voice to make your point. Nose picking. Not picking up after your dog. I have 2 golden retrievers and I am fastidious. I've actually trained my dogs not to go in my yard. Only if they're sick will they go in my yard. So when other people poop in my yard, I know it's not my dog's poop because I know I've done it. Strangers who call you sweetie or honey. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to those of you who I do this. Some find it sweet, but some find it annoying. So if I did it and you were annoyed by me, I apologize. Airport seat recliners. I think we could find a lot of airplane annoying habits. Slurping, just slurping. Leaving empty containers in the fridge, leaving dishes in the sink, pen clicking. Staring. Leaving the cap off the toothpaste. Burping in public. Okay, I think it's clear after going through this extensive list, and I didn't even do all 70, every one of us is guilty of being obnoxious, really, to someone else. So I asked kids to come up and compile a list in my program. Those of you who are watching this, you weren't here in person, and they came up with a pretty comprehensive list. And I'm going to see if I can do it from memory. Usually I take a picture of it, but it's been a crazy week with we had a family emergency. So I'm going to do the best I can from my memory. When teachers have favorites, when teachers punish everyone in the class when only a few people broke the rule, when people interrupt others, talking too loudly. This is an interesting one. Playing TikTok videos or making TikTok videos in the bathroom. These are your peers that came up with these. Cutting in line, obviously, one at school. Talking with your mouth full. Playing your videos or music too loudly on your iPad, disturbing those around you. So I think you could come up with a pretty long list yourself. But here's the point. I'm guessing after I've said a few and read that long list, you have recognized that sometimes we are unaware of the little annoying habits we have. And sometimes it's simply rude behaviors. So think about rude behaviors at school that bother you. Are your teachers ever guilty of rude behaviors? Is there anything they do that annoys you? I'm sure. My edits annoy you, right? Does being assigned too much busy homework exasperate you? Have you ever considered, though, you may have habits at school that you're unaware of that annoy others? So think about that, because that's going to be your first body paragraph, everyone. Then we're going to switch to another place where you realize you might be obnoxious to other people. Those of you, my cat, this is my three-legged cat. See, she's missing a leg. She just popped up next to me. You only get to meet my cat when I'm videotaping at home. That's Trixie. Siblings go out of their way to annoy each other. Those of you who are only children, trust me, I'm the youngest of four. We know how to push each other's buttons, and that could be invading each other's space, personal space in the car, walking into, someone else's room, invading their space there, interrupting them. You know what you're doing, right? And you know what they do to really bother you. But parents, oh my gosh, we're not perfect, everybody. We may exasperate you as well. Maybe, and I have some of your parents do this in my hallways. They'll take a phone call really loud in the hall. So I know your parents are doing this. Maybe one of your parents talks louder than the other. Maybe your parents annoy you when they don't give you the attention that you want. Maybe we moms, and I will back that up, we nag. Did you clean your room? Did you make your bed? Did you do your homework? We nag and nag and nag. And maybe, that vexes you, right? Maybe that just makes you crazy, drives you crazy. Maybe dad, right? Maybe dad's busy all the time. Maybe dad complains when he has to take you somewhere. We're not perfect parents, so we can all get on each other's nerves. Maybe grandma and grandpa. My grandparents, my parents are deceased, but my husband's parents are 84. Both of them had falls recently, and we're really helping them. And they're very slow, and they do things very slowly. And maybe that could get on your nerves. Maybe if neighbors that are annoying. Maybe they play music too loudly. Maybe they leave bright lights on. Maybe they don't plant, flowers in their yard, or the yard is overgrown and it doesn't look good. Maybe they leave their trash cans outside. Yeah. So besides annoying rude behaviors from others, sometimes events happen in life that are beyond our control, and these annoy us too. Traffic, flight, travel delay or cancellation, sickness and viruses. It's inconvenient when we get sick. We don't want that to happen. Technology malfunctions, your car breaks down, flat tire, you're hungry, power outage, weather, crimes, substitute teachers, family arguments, telemarketers, artificial intelligence, bugs, insects, scams, following rules, crowds, cramped seating, sitting in a waiting room. Okay, all of those things that are beyond our control, yes, they are irritating. But that's not what we're really talking about today. We're going to really dive deep in today, and we're going to do a really easy, I think it's easy when we do a first-person narrative response. A first-person narrative response means you are allowed to make this personal. And I promise you, I've had a really wonderful time reading some of these. Those students that really explained how maddening something was that a peer or classmate, fellow student, just their little habits, their little atrocious actions. That was someone's title. So you get to use I, me, my, myself. Remember again, the synonyms: irritating, exasperating, maddening, troublesome, bothersome, irksome, vexing. And I can add one right here, obnoxious. Just came to me. And you can take any of those words and look for synonyms itself, them off of those words. Okay, so those of you who are new, and those are those of you who have started in May or June, unless I've given you permission, you're really just doing body paragraphs. But my lead idea it was purposeful, It was to give you an idea of what it's like to be in first person from beginning to end. You shouldn't be using you and your. You shouldn't really be using we, our, and us if it's from a first person point of view. The great thing about first person point of view is, and it's not really a narrative here, but you could make it more of a narrative. It doesn't have to be true. You can make it up and you can embellish and exaggerate, which might make it more entertaining for the reader. So here's my lead idea. And those of you who have done those students who have done leads kind of copied me a little too closely. The point was in the lead and the conclusion, not to give you an idea to copy me, but to really make you spark an idea and you have a creative idea based on that. So those of you who are doing leads and conclusions, be careful. I don't need you to regurgitate my words. That's really close to plagiarism and copying. And that's cheating. Okay. We all know that. So imagine the scene in my classroom where the teacher's trying to explain a lesson and several students are whispering and giggling while they share texts on their cell phones. It was no surprise to me when my teacher walked over, grabbed their phones, and kept talking without skipping a beat. I liked how she also gave them the stink eye to let them know what they'd done was unacceptable. The message was clear to me. The teacher was bothered by their rude behavior. In fact, after class, I came up to my teacher and thanked her. Just realized that was a typo. See what happens when you teach, for stopping them because I was equally disturbed. So what I've given you is an example scenario. Ladies and gentlemen, I made it up. And I made it up because I've been a teacher in a fifth grade classroom, and I know that's pretty commonplace. So it wasn't hard to make up a scenario. Make up one that fits something that's happened at your school that was really disruptive. When it comes to pet peeves, something I find particularly annoying. So I want you to notice in your thesis here, I'm right here. I gave the definition. And that's okay. You can give the definition in the thesis or you can give the definition in the lead. I can think of numerous times at schools when others exasperate me. So this is part one. This is going to be body one. Always in the thesis, you give both points. But I can also admit I disrupt others. Okay, and I'm going to put at home too. So we have school and home. 3 of my biggest pet peeves that bother me the most at school include, so you get to fill in your 3. You know, what are 3 disturbing, disruptive, the most annoying things you can think of? So I want you to notice what I'm doing here with the words in bold. These are synonyms. Okay. Otherwise, you're going to go annoying, 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 which, by the way, is going to become annoying. So one annoying issue I struggle with at school is you get to fill in the blank. And can you use the beginning of these sentences right here? Yes. Yes. This back it up should be 2 to 3 sentences if it's really good. A second irritating habit others have that drives me crazy. And others here could be, you know, you could put fellow students, because this is who you are talking about. A third problem I have with my peers is their upsetting habits. So these bold words are really, you know, expanding upon that word annoying. So any 3 pet peeves that bother you. Even though I know my classmates are doing their best, sometimes their irksome behaviors exasperate me. So I noticed I caught myself 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to actually fix this one right here and change it to, because I caught myself doing exasperate 3 times. See, I'm not perfect either. Make that less bold. Okay, body 2. I know that sometimes my bothersome habits at home really bug, and this would be my family around me as I can drive. Okay, others. Okay, sorry, it was bug others. I did have it correct. As I can drive my family crazy too. Now, I'm going to warn you because you have the benefit, those of you who are just watching this late after I've taught it. A lot of kids did wonderful on the first body. The second body, not so much. And I think part of that is it's really easy to point the finger at somebody else and point out somebody else's flaws. And it's really hard to look inside ourselves and realize, right? So you need to be introspective here and own what you do and have fun with it. One way I bother my parent is when I interrupt them when they are talking on the phone it is like I know that they're going to stop and I know that it makes them mad, but I do it anyway. So you're going to kind of expand on that. A second perplexing habit I have that drives my brother, sister crazy. Those of you who don't have a sibling, anything you do in the house that drives your mom and dad crazy. A third infuriating habit I have is pet peeves are vexing to me, but I've come to realize I'm just as guilty of making other people. And I'm going to change exasperated there. I'm going to put frustrated with my behaviors. I don't think I used that one. Oh, good. Then I got rid of exasperated 3 times. Okay, so conclusion. In my opinion, when it comes to school, there are specific pet peeves I have that bother me more than pet peeves I have that bother me more than anything else. However, I've come to realize I can be equally irritating with some of my habits too. Okay, I think this should be others have that bother me. Okay, so as I mature, just an application here, I think I can find better ways to handle pet peeves. For instance, at school, if my peers are too distracting, I simply put in my earbuds, tune them out as much as possible. If I don't have permission to do that at school, I ask for a quieter place to go work, such as the library. At home, I'm learning to read the body language and facial expressions of my family members to figure out when I'm my most annoying. I'm learning to be more mindful of my own disturbing personal habits and aware when I drive my family up the walls. I may never curb all of my crazy behaviors, but I'm at least more aware of them. So another application here is, pet peeves. If you're rude enough and obnoxious enough, this can cost you. This can cost you a teacher recommendation. It can cost you a place on a team if you're a bad sport. It can cost you a job. Maybe if you don't have that teacher recommendation, it can cost you a college, right? Okay, so here's an example of your first body paragraph. Notice your first off, second, and finally. And I did that on purpose because usually the first idea is really good. Second idea, third idea. Make sure you're backing them up. It irritates me when my classmates around me make noises when I'm concentrating on schoolwork. When I'm trying to complete my class assignment, some of my peers have the nerve to interrupt me. The worst part is they sometimes whisper to one another and share answers, which ruins it for me when I'm trying to learn. So you can see I expanded on those details. I'm going to go down to the second body paragraph, which, by the way, has been the weakest one of all the students. First of all, I know I can bother my parents and siblings at home when I ask so many questions when they're middle of something important. As an example, so notice I'm giving an example scenario. When I watched a movie in a different language with my parents, I would always ask them what the actors were saying because they speak the language and they're the only ones that understand this question. I know this annoys them because I'm interrupting their time with the movie. So by the way, body paragraph and body paragraph 1 and 2 were not written by me. They were written by fellow students. So I think it's always fun when you have examples from your peers. Okay, so I'm going to stop the share there. And I apologize. You didn't get the big screen today because I'm actually doing this at home. And I don't have I don't have a second monitor, so I have to share the document with you as I go through. So this ends lesson 2 for the month of June, pet peeves. Thank you for watching and submit your essay as soon as possible while it's fresh in your mind. And have a great day.